Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to Maths Today. We are going to be comparing and ordering fractions. But before we begin, I'd like you to make sure that you have everything that you need for the lesson. So a pencil, a rubber, a ruler, some paper, perhaps squared or lined or planed, as well as the printout if you have it. When you've completed it, then begin your do now. And when you finish that, unpause the video and we'll go through the answers. Great, welcome back. Let's take a look at the answers. What fraction of the square is shaded pink? 5/10. What fraction of the square is shaded green? 1/25. What fraction of the square is shaded purple? 1/4. Oh, sorry, 2/20. Wrong answer. What fraction of the square is shaded blue? 1/4. And what fraction of the square is not shaded? 11/100. So, I'm looking at this rectangle that's been divided into 4 equal parts. What fractions can be represented here? What does the yellow rectangle represent of the whole? Good, 1/4, well done. What about this here? Excellent, 3/4. And so what about here? Good, 2/4. Oh, some of you said something else. What did you say? Yeah, half as well. Well done. Now, how would you order these fractions? How many equal parts has this rectangle been divided into? Pause the video, put your finger on where you think the fraction belongs, and when you've finished, restart and we'll go unpause and we'll go through the answers. Okay, so let's take a look. The first one, 3/8. I can see that I have 8 here, 8 parts. 3/8 will be 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to put that there. Was your finger there? Good job. Okay, the next one that I'm going to do is 5/8. Can you put your finger where you think 5/8 goes? Good. Good. I'm going to put that there because that's 2 up from 3. Great. I'm going to find where all of my 8s go first. I think that's easier. 1/8. Brilliant. 1/8 goes here. Good job. 6/8. Good. It's just 1 more than 5/8. And 7/8. Excellent. 1 more than 6/8. Great. Now I have 1/4 and 1/2. 1/4. I can visualize half of my rectangle. What's half of 8 parts? Good, 4 equal parts. So that would be here. Great. And again, I can either visualize 4 quarters or how many 8s? Yeah, 2 8s. Brilliant. Now we can also calculate it too. So, for example, we have 1/4. What would I need to do to find out the equivalent fraction of 8s? So I look at my denominator, 4, and I know that I need to find the equivalent 8s. What must I do to 4? Multiply by 2. Remember that whatever I do to my denominator, I must also do to my numerator. So my numerator will be 2 8s. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, great, 2 8s. Let's take a look at half. Using that rule, whatever you do to the numerator, you do whatever you do to the denominator, you also do to the numerator. Let's take a look. Our denominator is 1/8. 2 multiplied by 4 equals 8. Absolutely. So I must multiply my numerator by, tell me. Good. So what's my fraction? Tell me. Good. 4/8. Well done. Next. Pause the video. I'd like you to place all of these fractions on the number line. It looks a little bit more complex, but you can see that our two rectangles have been divided by different equal number parts. Sorry, a different number of equal parts. The first rectangle is divided into 5 parts, and the second rectangle is divided into 10 parts. Excellent. Pause the video when you've managed to, and then unpause and we'll go through the answers. Great. So have you had to think about the relationships between fifths and tenths? Okay, let's go. I'd like you to hold your finger where you think this fraction should go. 9/10. Good. That's 9/10 is here. What about 6/10? Good, we can count along 6/10 here. What's the equivalent fifths? So 6/10 fifths would be 3/5. Good. Let's take a look at 2/5. Good, 2/5 here. Excellent. And what about 5/10? And another word for that, the equivalent is half. Yes, great. You're doing really well. Good job. 1/5. Yeah, that's nice and easy, isn't it? Have you noticed that 1/5, the distance between 0 and 1/5 is the same distance between 1/5 and 2/5? Yeah. Let's take a look at 3/10. Here we go, the tenths, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. How would you describe 3/10 location between 1/5 and 2/5? Yeah, absolutely. It's in between, isn't it? Now, the equivalent of tenths of 1/5 would be 2/10, and 2/5 would be 4/10. Good. So I know that 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. 3/10 is in between. Great. What about 4/5? Good, here. And the equivalent of tenths? 8/10. 3/20. Well, we have rectangles that are divided into fifths, and we also have rectangles that are divided into tenths. Now, I guess I could try and visualize my rectangle being divided into 20ths. And if there were 20 parts, where would my 3/10 fall? Yeah, so before it would come 2/20, and then after it would come 4/20. Absolutely. So I'm going to look for relationships. 2/20. 2/20. I know that 2/20 is the equivalent of 1/10, and I know that 4/20 is the equivalent of 2/10, so it would probably fall in between. So I put it there. So it's halfway between 1/10 or 2/20 and 2/10, 4/20. There's an equivalent relationship there. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Now that I've got all of my fractions along the number line, I can look at the fractions and say things like 3/20 is less than 1/5. I can say 2/5 is greater than 1/5. Can you say a sentence to me? Say one to me. Great. Can you now give me a greater than sentence? Fantastic. And now a less than sentence? Okay. Can you give me a greater than sentence where the denominators are the same? Fantastic. And now can you give me a less than sentence where the denominators are the same? Great. Okay, good job. Now, find 1/5 and 1/4. Can you place your finger? We've got two rectangles here to help you along the number line. Can you place where you think 1/4 would go? And where do you think 1/5 would go? Okay, let's see. 1/4 would be here, and 1/5 would be here. Okay, what do you notice about them? What do you notice? Yeah, they both have the same numerator. You're right. I can say that 1/5 is less than 1/4. And I can say that 1/4 is greater than 1/5, which is quite interesting because 1/4 is greater than 1/5. But if you look at the denominator, the number 5 as a whole number is actually greater than number 4, and yet 1/5 is less than 1/4. So, that's really interesting. Right, now let's take a look at 3/5 and 3/4. What do you notice? Yeah, the numerators are the same again. Okay, are you ready? Can you hold your finger over the number line where you think 3/5 will go? You can use the rectangles to help you. 1, 2, 3. Did you get it right? Brilliant. What about 3/4? Good. Okay, so can you use a sentence to describe these two fractions? Can you use the greater sentence first? Go. Yes, 3/4 is greater than 3/5. And what about the less than? Yes, 3/5 is less than 3/4. So what do you notice? Yeah, it's the same. Now, again, 3/4 is greater than 3/5, but where 5, the denominator here, is normally greater than 4 as a whole number, as fractions, 3/5 is less than 3/4, just like 1/5 is less than 1/4. Let's take a look at the next one. Find 4/5 and 75 hundredths. Now, this is a fact that you should know. What is the equivalent fraction of 75 hundredths? Do you know? Tell me. Absolutely, yes, it's 3/4. Okay, so I can see that my number line has been divided into hundredths. So there are 100 equal parts and also 10 equal parts. And also 20 equal parts. So, can you please place your finger over where you think 75 hundredths would be? Good. So I'm going to count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. That's 5. So it would go there. What about 4/5? Now I can either visualize 5 equal parts, or I can make a connection. So how many tenths are 4/5? Good, yeah, 8 tenths. And I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tenths would be here. So which is greater? Can you tell me? Yeah, 4/5 is greater than 75 hundredths, and which is less? Yes, 75 hundredths is less than 4/5. Great. So we're going to place these fractions on the number line, and then once we've done that, we're going to put them in order. I'd like you to think about any patterns or connections that you notice. You might want to convert some of the fractions to help you count. Our number line's been divided into 100 equal parts, as well as 10 equal parts and 20 equal parts. You can pause the video and then unpause when you're ready to go through the answers, or you can continue with me now and hold your finger over where you think the fraction goes along the number line. Let's go. Okay, so I know that 1/5 goes here. I'm going to think about a connection here because I know that my number line is divided into 10. The equivalent of 1/5 is 2 tenths. So that goes here. I'm not going to do 1/8. I'm going to come back to that, but I'm going to look at 1/4. Now, 1/4 of the way along, what would the equivalent of that be in hundreds? If I had 1/4 of 100, good, 25. So I could go 10, 20, and then 5. Yeah? Again, connections are really helping me. Next, 1/10. Well, that's nice and easy because my number line's divided into 10, so my 10th will go here. What about 1/20th? Well, actually, this number line is also divided into 20s. Can you see those small lines, those small divisions on the top? So that's 1/20th. Half is really easy. Can you tell me? Good. So it goes here. How many tenths would that be? Shout it out. Yes, 5 tenths. How many hundredths? Brilliant. Yeah, 50 hundredths. And what about 20ths? Yes, good. 10 20ths. Well done. Now I'm going to come back to my 8th. Now you're going to need this for the independent task, so I'd advise you to pay very close attention. Now, do I need to visualize my number line into 8 equal parts, or can I think of connections as I have been doing? So let me see, I've got half, I've got a quarter, and that's an 1/8. So I know that this is half, and this is a quarter, which is half of that. So 1/8. If I know where 1/4 is, and how many hundredths is that? 1/4 is how many hundredths? Yeah, 25 hundredths. Good. So half of 25. 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. If I count here, then 12.5 will be here. So 1/8 is actually here. I know that was a bit of a challenge, but actually using those connections really helped me. Now, I put all of these fractions in order, starting from the smallest to the largest. What pattern do you notice? Yeah. Anything else? Okay, good. So I'm sure you've noticed that all of the numerators are exactly the same. And then I'm sure that you've noticed that the denominators are getting smaller and smaller, but the value of the fraction is actually getting larger and larger. So half is bigger than 1/20th. So it seems that the larger the denominator, the smaller the value. The smaller the denominator, the greater the value of the fraction. This only is the case when all of the numerators are the same. Well noticed, everyone. Okay, now for your independent task. Your first task is to place these fractions in order. Read very carefully because they're asking you to order them from smallest to largest and some from largest to smallest. So don't get caught out. Your next task is to place these fractions on a number line. If you go back, there's a video showing you how to make a number line to help you, or you can use the number lines on the screen. If you don't have a number line, you can also place the fractions in order from smallest to largest. Having a number line will help you quite a lot though. And then finally, you can answer this question. Make sure that you're using mathematical language to explain your answer. Pause the video when you've finished. Pause the video to start your work, and then when you finish, unpause and we'll go through the answers. Okay, so let's take a look. 2/5, sorry, 5/20, not 2/5, is here. Fortunately, our number line is divided into 20ths too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember when we found the equivalent of 1/8? It was the equivalent of how many hundredths? Can you remember? Good, 12.5 hundredths. Now I know that half is 4/8, so from my halfway, I'm going to count 12.5, which makes 5/8 here. Again, I'm using those connections to find really quite tricky fractions. 5/10, I know that is half, or what's the equivalent 20ths? Good, 10/20ths, or how many hundredths? 50 hundredths, well done. 5 hundredths is here because we have our number line that's divided into 100 equal parts. And yes, that's right, we said it earlier, 50 hundredths. Good job. Now we're going to line them up in order. So starting with the smallest, 5 100ths. We have 5 20ths. 5/10 and 50 100ths are equivalent fractions. And then our largest one is 5/8. Did you get those right? Great job. Okay, now let's order these. 7/8. Remind me, how many hundredths is equivalent to how many 8? To 1/8? Yes, 12.5. Now I know that 1 is 8/8. So 1/8 less is 12.5 less. So I'm counting back. Good. Next, 3/4. I know this is half. What else? How many 20ths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good. 15 20ths. Or how many hundredths? 75 hundredths. Excellent. Let's go with the next one. Half, that's easy. We can visualize that quite easily. 4/5 is the equivalent of how many tenths? Yeah, 8 tenths. Well done. And 99 hundredths would be here because it's 1 less than 100. And then 9 tenths here. Fortunately, our line is divided equally into 10 parts. Good job. Now I'm going to line them up. What patterns do you notice? Yeah, this one's slightly trickier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 99, 100. Yes, the numerator is 1 less than the denominator. So actually all of these fractions is 1 of their equal parts less than the whole. So the whole has 4 parts and the numerator has 1 less, so that's 3. This whole has 8 parts, 8 equal parts, and the numerator has 1 less, 7. The whole has 100 equal parts and the numerator has 1 less, 99. How observant, good job. For this one, I would like you to pause the video and I'd like you to correct the fractions. When you've finished, unpause and we'll move on to the last question. Great, how did you do? Well done. And this is task 3. So Ron makes 3/4 and 3/8 out of cubes and he thinks that they're equal. Do you agree? Well, we can see that they're not equal, so let's prove it. He says 3/8 is the same as 3/4. Now, if I find the equivalent of 8s, I know that 3/4 equals 6/8. 6/8 and 3/8 are not equal. I hope you found work today enjoyable. Take it easy and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye.